This podcast contains adult language and stories of true crime. If you don't like laughing, crying, or being horrified at the actions of other humans, this podcast is not for you.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 14 of Resolved Mysteries. If this is your first time listening, this is a podcast where we rewatch the show Unsolved Mysteries. We've been watching it on Amazon Prime, but it's now on YouTube.
Yay!
In Australia and the United States. So if you haven't had access because you don't have Amazon Prime, you now might or
Also,
do.
get Amazon Prime. It is so worth it.
Yeah, but don't give that one guy more money, though.
Oh, yeah, he's mean, right?
But we love
guy.
Amazon Prime. Bezos or whatever his name is.
Jeff Bezos.
Richie.
And he paid no taxes this year.
Oh, well, fuck that guy.
But we do like Amazon. Okay. So
It's complicated. We have a complicated
Relationship.
We're Americans. We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
No. So we each research a case or two and provide updates, and that's what we're about to do for you right now.
Yeah.
This is Eliza. They hate when we say our names.
No,
but
people like it.
I'm Eliza. Who are you?
I'm Alison.
And I'm Karlin.
And
We're Resolved Mysteries.
yes, and I have a correction.
Oh, girl. We have not had you done fucked up in a minute, honey.
Oh, and I really did. It's serious.
It's pretty serious.
It's really serious, especially
Because we were
disagreed
right.
about it.
Yeah.
So the correction is that Natasha Lyonne is not wearing a wig, as
She
I previously
is
said.
a queen, and her hair is amazing.
She's a queen.
Amazing.
So I had found two articles because I looked it up while I was watching. We're talking about Russian Doll. I looked it up while I was watching it because I love her hair so much, and I always have. I loved it in Orange is the New Black, but this was a whole special new curly bang situation.
So perfect.
So cute. I fucking love curly bang situations.
I know.
They're
And I could
impossible.
never
It's because
pull it
they're
off.
impossible.
A girl can dream.
Yeah.
So I had seen two articles that said, yes, it was a wig. But then when I went back last night, one of them was, I had been like skimming through it, and one of them was actually an article talking about Natasha Lyonne has had a stand-in for filming Orange is the New Black. And that woman has had to wear a wig that looks like Natasha's hair.
That makes
God.
sense because nobody has Natasha Lyonne's hair except for Natasha
So
Lyonne.
Orange is the New Black. Can you please ship that wig to us?
Oh my
Because
God.
any one of us will wear it any day.
We'll wear it,
God.
but that's not going to be the Russian doll wig, so we medium care about it.
Oh, that's right, because it's not as red.
We want a Russian doll wig, which doesn't exist because I was wrong, and that is Natasha Lyonne's hair. So I'm very, very sorry.
It's okay. Natasha forgets you.
I really apologize.
You should be.
Okay, you can go to our episode show notes to find us on Instagram and all that. We're going to maybe cut our intros shorter a little bit, or you can listen to the end and we'll tell you everywhere where you can follow us.
So listen to the end.
Listen
but we
to
do
the
have to
end.
say.
That's a hint.
Oh, I love that.
Okay.
I also have to say that you're going to be hearing a promo for Let's Talk OC podcast.
Yeah.
So that's going to be between segment 3 and Cheersy Feelsies, and it's a super cute show, and the girls are great. So you should listen to their promo and listen to their podcast.
Definitely. We have a new website page on our website, resolvedmysteriespodcast.com. Mm-hmm. That's what it's called. That's what it is.
It's called ResolvedMysteriesPodcast.com.
And it's just a page thanking patrons that subscribe at a certain level, and we ask them a little about themselves and post little things about them. So we have that going now.
It's super cute.
We have one about Jamie up there.
Yes.
Who we love so much.
We do love you, Jamie.
Speaking of our Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/resolvedmysteries to support us over there. You get extra content and all that. And then we have some other patrons to shout out. Jamie T. and then Christina B. Also, thank you so much for supporting us.
Yeah, we really appreciate it, guys. It's like pretty crazy.
And so exciting.
We really do.
Yeah. And then we've also been doing listener short stacks where you
Yes.
send us stories or ask us questions, which is also fun. And so keep those coming. We have great content for our next one, which we're going to record and release soon.
Yeah, it's going to be so good. You guys are a fascinating bunch. I
so
swear. Yeah.
We love
So
it.
keep
sending
those
stuff.
coming, please, please, please. All right. And then our segments for today. Who's going first?
I have the first segment, and it is a wanted segment about Leo Koury.
I have the second segment, and it's on Michaela Joy Garecht.
And I have the last segment. It's my first haunting, so please stay tuned for it. It's very important to me.
Oh my God.
About the home of Jim and Kay Tatum.
And we're already disagreeing on it, so.
It's our first ghostie.
That's fun.
Ghosty.
Ghosties are fun.
All right, let's get to it.
Let's do this.
All right.
Are you
All
recording?
right.
So this is technically the fourth segment of episode 14. This is the wanted segment about Leo Koury. And there is, we usually like to go by the victim's name, but with this one, the whole thing was really not about that. This is a weird, I don't even know what to say. So in the mid-70s, Leo Koury was, this is how Stack intros it. In the mid-70s, Leo Koury was a volunteer softball umpire and active in his local church. He was married with 4 children and a member of the American Legion. Sounds like a pretty great guy. We start the segment with Jack Caldwell, which is the special agent of the FBI who's kind of like hunting Koury this whole time. And I actually left a lot of this out, but he was very into this chase. So he says that people said that Koury was characterized as a caring, sensitive individual by those who knew him. However, our investigation turned up another Leo Koury, and that is the leader of a racketeering enterprise who made a living committing crimes.
Yeah, man.
Dubsy life.
Dubsy life. On March 19th, 1975, a bodyguard named Chuck Kernighan was murdered in his home in Richmond, Virginia. His body was placed in a trunk, driven to the Rappahannock River,
I believe you.
weighed down with the bumper from a 57 Chevrolet, and thrown off the side of a boat. The segment starts with a reenactment of this, but I'm still confused about why.
Because they never mention him again.
Yes, and this is not really, I mean, it's part of the story, but it's not like the main thing of the story because you're never going to hear this name again. But authorities believe that Koury was responsible for this contract killing. So Koury's family ran restaurants as he was growing up. He kind of grew up in the restaurant business. He worked at them for a number of years and began to make his money that way. Stack says Koury became a successful restaurant owner who was fiercely competitive. So they...
That is an understatement.
Yeah. Yes, get ready.
Oh my God.
So they start this reenactment in a restaurant, and it's kind of like a large space, pretty full of people. They pan over the crowd of people in the restaurant, and it's just a sea of pastels, ill-fitting denim, and mullets. I'm not sure why they keep calling it a restaurant, because to me it was a club or a bar.
Yeah, it looked like a bar.
Yeah.
I don't know if there
Like a
was like a
sports
weird
bar.
thing about them needing to call it a restaurant, but
It was a full-on bar.
definitely.
Yeah.
UM says that Koury would reportedly try to mess up his rival restaurants' businesses by, quote, sending in thugs to terrorize the patrons.
Yeah, I was like,
So, yeah.
I was like, okay, I could see that.
I was like, wait, what?
well, not even then. I was like, all right, okay.
I
But
was
then
like-
in the reenactment, I was like,
Oh.
whoa, my God, that's murder.
I was like, you could just make better food, right?
just be a better restaurant.
Let's jump into my research to explain what was actually happening at this time, because UM did not really explain it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that whole segment was a mess.
Yeah, so we need to backtrack a little bit. So just to set the scene, we're talking about a time of rampant homophobia. Gay people could be turned away from entering bars or for being gay or appearing gay. Koury realized that this was happening and began to open bars for gay people. They were really the only places that gay people could go to like socialize and be themselves. So I was kind of like,
Yeah, it seems nice.
like, that's amazing. That's so progressive. I like this guy. So Koury was opening these gay clubs, and he started making a lot of money on it because that was the only place they could go. So they were like, I'm going there. Koury became known as the, quote, godfather of Richmond's gay community, which at first I was like, oh my God,
No, not
that's
like a
so
good guy.
nice. He's like their protector. He's the person that provides a safe place for the gay community. Then I realized they meant the godfather, like the fucking godfather, like
Like Scorsese.
the fucking mob.
Oh, it's awful.
So that's less cute.
because
it's
he
funnier.
was gay?
No,
No,
because
he was straight.
okay.
No, yeah, he was married, 4 kids, totally straight, like lived a straight life. So let's get into why Koury was the actual godfather with a capital G of the gay community. Ray Bentley is a retired promoter who is a part owner of an early prominent gay club in the same city. He says, quote, he basically had the gay club business, and he had all the policemen that would bother him, or the vice detectives that would bother him, or the ABC people that would bother them. He had them all under control, so to speak.
Ooh, shit.
So I'm not exactly sure what that means.
He's saying that he was paying the cops and
yeah, I wasn't sure if it was paying or if it was like a situation of like
blackmail?
violence or anything.
Ooh,
Yeah, like
intimidation. I feel like payment is the best thing to do with police officers.
yeah, that makes more sense.
You can't really intimidate cops, but you can give them money.
Sorry, what city is this in again?
Richmond.
Yeah, Richmond,
Okay,
Virginia.
okay.
Bentley says that the clubs were making money and Koury and his associates wanted a monopoly. Bill Harrison, executive director of Diversity Richmond, remembers the clubs that Koury opened in the early 70s. Quote, the community, I think, looked at Leo as a friend, Harrison said, because he provided us with a safe place for the community to gather. Back in those days, we didn't have the organizations and the foundations that we have today. So the bars were the main focus of the gay community. Like, it was really the only place they could gather.
That's just predatory behavior regardless.
And actually, I didn't put this in, but I also read somewhere that he would, like, wildly overcharge for entry.
I'm sure he did. Like, he was just exploiting, like, you know, these people.
Wow.
So, but Harrison says he remembers places like Koury's Dial Tone, which was one of his clubs.
Oh, I like that name for our club.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah,
that's cute.
That really just seemed like a normal, nice bar. Like, it wasn't different from the other bars. It was just like a place they could go and feel normal. But not all of Koury's clubs were the same. He had this is another quote, he had a club down the street called the 409 Club, 3 blocks down the street. It was a dump. We, Bentley and his 2 partners, decided that they wanted to open a nice after-hours club, and they were able to get a place that was pretty cheap. Bentley added, and people came from all over, New York, Baltimore, Washington, Norfolk, to see Richmond's new after-hours club. And it was huge. And all of a sudden, Leo's place was a ghost town.
Uh-oh. Leo doesn't like that.
Yeah.
Don't make
and
the
I think this
Godfather
club
mad.
they opened was called the Cha-Cha.
Cute. Love it.
One day, Bentley says that Koury invited him to come to the Dial Tone for, quote, some very good news. He goes in and sees Koury sitting in the back at a poker table with 3 big burly men. Bentley said Koury offered to buy his share of the Cha-Cha, saying, take what you want here, presenting a big bank bag stuffed with money. Quote, I have no idea how much it was, could have been $50,000.
Whoa.
However, Bentley turned down the offer. Koury told him he should think very carefully about it.
Because he's going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Quote, soon we started having troubles, Bentley said. Somebody rode by one night and shot a bullet through the window.
What?
Then we hired a bouncer, and the bouncer ended up getting killed.
Oh
What
my
the
gosh.
So this is Chuck Kernighan, who they mentioned before.
Oh my gosh, and they did not put that in that segment.
You know
No,
why?
and these
So
quotes I'm pulling are
dumb.
from my research, not from
Right.
US.
Do
Yeah,
you think it was
'cause I
because it was like gay clubs? I mean, he briefly mentions that he exploited members of the gay community in Richmond, but he doesn't
Seems like
specifically
they
say
didn't
that
wanna
he
talk
like
about it.
entrapped them and
Right.
then exploited them.
Right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, the UM segment was so weirdly
That's
like,
probably
void
why.
of a lot of
though.
detail.
I bet that's why.
Wow.
So this is Chuck Kernighan, who we mentioned in the beginning, who was in the trunk and then thrown in the river. The whole story of him being put in a trunk and dumping him in the river with a bumper tied to him is completely from police informants. So it's never been verified, and Chuck's body has never been found.
Oh, wow.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So now let's talk about the thugs storming into the competing clubs.
Oh my gosh,
Jesus
guys.
Christ.
UM does a reenactment of this. The earlier scene that started with all the ill-fitting denim turns into, Stack says, January 15th, 1977, there was a brutal attack on innocent customers at the mailbox, which on my subtitles was spelled M-A-I-L.
But M-A-L-E,
Yep.
honey.
The year before,
No, I kind of love
Don't
all
you
these
love
names.
it?
I mean,
I love
he's
it so
terrible, but
much.
he's clever. Who does his marketing?
well, and it wasn't Koury that thought of that name. The year before, Koury gave his bar Smitty's to a relative who renamed it, the mailbox. But Koury ended up wanting it back, so a co-conspirator of Koury's fired a shotgun into the crowd at the bar.
Oh, my God.
In the reenactment, several guys in ski masks storm in. One has a shotgun and just starts shooting people in the crowd. I'm sure you remember that.
yeah.
I was thinking about like this show's so old. I don't think that they would do a reenactment like that now. Like
That's what I
mass
thought, too.
shootings are way too common.
Yeah, I
and
didn't even
it
think about
was
that.
very hard to watch that.
Yeah, it was terrifying to watch.
Also, when he was really competitive and decided to go after, I thought he was going to like release roaches into the kitchen.
Yes.
I was like, leave a bad
like,
Yelp
tell
review
people it
or
sucked.
something.
Yes,
Jesus. You don't have to shoot people in the stomach.
The most extreme.
Yeah. Like, because in the reenactment, they shot like 2 or 3 people. It was horrible.
And there was
He's
like,
like-
nowhere for people to run. They were just like cowering by
Yes.
the bar.
Yeah.
Yes, it was horrifying. And we obviously know stories like that happen all the time. So it was just very, yes, you're
too
right. They would
much.
not do that now.
No, they wouldn't.
So several were injured and one person died, and didn't even give the name of the man who died, but his name was Albert Thomas. The motive didn't come out until later, so at the time, the gay community was terrified, thinking the shooting was just a brutal homophobic attack. So Caldwell says it became apparent after months of investigating that Leo Koury was at the center of a racketeering enterprise. He says, quote, "They ran an organization that their primary income was through illegal purposes, frauds, extortion, murder, whatever. Their income was from crime." The FBI knew Koury was their suspect, but they couldn't indict him because his inner circle was extremely loyal. Which, loyal might be the wrong word there. Terrified. They often picked vulnerable groups like the local gay community as victims for scams and extortions. Another example of Koury's power and extortion is shown in the episode with another reenactment. This is in October of 1977. So they have a reenactment of this man playing pinball in a bar, minding his own business, and this scary guy walks up behind him, gets really close to him, and I don't know if they were trying to say this was Koury or just like one of his thugs, but he says, "I want you to kill a man for me." And the guy looks up from his pinball game and just says, "I'll do it."
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Easy.
The man then sets the handgun down on top of the pinball machine. It's very like mob movie dramatic.
Oh, I missed the gun on the pinball machine.
Yeah, he just like sets it down.
He's like, "And use this."
And if you don't get it, I mean, shoot him.
If I can't be any more explicit.
So the man in the reenactment is Eddie Lohr. Koury had asked him to make a hit on another restaurant owner, Jim Hillier. Stack says a few days later, the plan backfired when Eddie Lohr was found hiding outside Jim Hillier's home. Stack says this arrest was the turning point for the FBI. They learned from Lohr that he was asked at Koury's behest to kill Hillier to eliminate him as competition in the restaurant business. After being aware of Koury's crimes for a while, this arrest finally directly leads to Koury's indictment. So,
because that guy wasn't part of the inner circle.
well, and thank God he didn't kill somebody. So Lohr agrees to work with the FBI. They mic him and send him in to talk to Koury.
Right.
And plays the actual recording of Koury talking to Lohr.
yes.
Which is really cool. We
Yeah.
haven't seen this before. And
Yeah.
I love that shit.
I love that shit
too.
too.
Oh, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there was maybe something like legally about how much of that they could share.
Yes, for sure.
Because they didn't really give anything meaty in that part.
Yeah.
So what we can hear on UM just says, "I can't understand you telling everybody our unintelligible business. Don't say anything on the phone. I don't care if you believe unintelligible. Don't say anything." And that's all we hear. So we don't hear anything like actually incriminating, and I don't know if that was...
They probably couldn't
Yeah.
put that on TV.
On October 31st, 1978, Koury was indicted by a federal grand jury. He was charged with murder, attempted murder, extortion, assault, racketeering, fraud, and arson. So,
Okay.
yeah, he had his grubbies in a lot of different crimes.
Grubbies everywhere.
Seriously. A lot of people who knew Koury in the gay community were super surprised to find out that their friend was involved in so many crimes, especially murder.
That's sad.
But Bentley was less surprised. Quote, "When you met Leo, he was just as nice as could be, kind and charming," he said. "But when you mess with his money, ho, 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 he was relentless to his competitors and anyone who threatens his income." So things are kind of moving forward, but the day before the charges came down, Koury disappears from Richmond. How?
Because he had a good lawyer that like let him out on bail, probably. They were like, he's a
Okay.
pillar in the community.
Yeah, because he was in jail, right?
I would assume.
Yeah, they probably arrested him. Then he went in front of the judge. His lawyer was like, he's a pillar of the community. Hello, he's part of the American Legion, guys. This is all ridiculous.
Are you kidding me?
He did do all the work to make him look
Yeah.
good, to make himself
Yeah.
look good.
So they were like, all right, we're going to let him go. And then he skips bail.
Yeah.
He's not a flight risk. Oh, wait, yes,
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
So, and didn't really go into this except for in the very, very intro, but he had a wife and 4 children that he left behind, one of which had special needs. So just very, very fucked up. So cut to Caldwell saying that he expects Koury might be one of those criminals who might pick up the phone and call the detective looking for him just to tweak their nose. But in my research, nothing like this did happen since Koury went missing. He really just up and left and stayed on the run. On April 20th, 1979, he's placed on the FBI's 10 most wanted list as an accused murderer. He's eluded authorities for 10 years at the time of the airing.
Jeez, I didn't remember it was that long.
Yeah,
That's right.
He had already been on the lam for 10 years.
That's crazy.
Stack says over the last 10 years, the FBI recorded 165 sightings of Koury, mostly on the East Coast, but also in Brazil and the Middle East. And his family was from the Middle East, so that wasn't like totally bizarre.
I was like, what?
Yeah. Who can say if any of these sightings were really Koury? I think some of them could have been.
Yeah.
At the time of the airing, the FBI was offering $25,000 as a reward in the case. They even have billboards around the country that they showed on with his face on them, saying that he's wanted by the FBI. Stack says that his FBI file is 38 volumes thick.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Mine's probably only like 2.
You really need to do some more.
Nothing. So this guy's still missing.
What?
Well, no. At this time that I'm telling you this story.
I'm like, get the fuck out. Go home.
And in this time that he's missing, the case first aired on Special Number 1 on January 20th, 1987.
Okay.
So like before was even a
yeah.
series.
Raymond Burr hosted, I believe.
In an FBI fugitive roll call. It was covered in more detail on a full segment on January 18th, 1989 episode, and it was also featured on America's Most Wanted. does give an update about locating Koury, but I'm going to scrap that and tell you the actual story of where Koury went and what he was doing.
Yes.
Because, they give that one sentence thing that you're just like, what?
Yes. That's why we're here. For the good stuff.
Everyone thought that Koury was seen all over the country and internationally, which may or may not have been true up until a certain point. Somewhere around 1987, or maybe a little earlier, Koury moved to San Diego and began a new life under the name William Franklin Biddle. He was living alone in an apartment, and he was broke, working part-time at a convenience store a couple blocks from the apartment. He didn't drive or even own a car, according to news reports at the time. He was known by store patrons as a quiet, simple man, a devout Catholic, fluent in Spanish and Arabic, who helped those in need, often lending or giving away money.
Even though he didn't have any.
Yeah. In June of 1991, Biddle, who was 56 at this time and diabetic, died of a brain hemorrhage.
What?
Whoa.
When no one came to claim the body or plan a service, Susan Graves, the San Diego Deputy Public Administrator, began looking into Biddle's case.
Whoa.
Oh my God, this is nuts.
Graves tried looking for Biddle's family. She went and spoke to Suhel Sam Hushan. Sam is what he went by. The owner of Sam's convenience store where Biddle worked. The two were friends, and Sam said that Biddle described himself as an orphan, a Vietnam veteran, and a former employee of the International Red Cross, which had given him a small pension. People also believed his story about the Red Cross because he spoke Arabic. Other neighbors and friends described Biddle as intensely private, only going out to shop, work, or attend church services. Sam mentioned that he'd only been in his apartment once or twice in the 5 years he'd known him. Friends and neighbors also knew him to be someone who enjoyed helping people. He would regularly shop for homebound seniors and loved to chat with the customers at Sam's. So,
What in the world?
Well, that's how a lot of those guys function, though. Like, they compartmentalize.
So Hushan said, he's the nicest man I've ever met. Very honest, very straight, never cussed. Basically, Koury kept a super low profile. In addition to mostly keeping to himself, he also didn't drive so as not to run the risk of ever being pulled over and having to speak to the police.
Oh, that's why. Interesting.
So Graves started digging deeper to look.
Get it.
Nice. Graves started digging deeper to look into Biddle. The Army had no record of discharging a man under the name of Biddle, and the Red Cross also didn't know who he was. Acquaintances said he would lend money to people in need, sometimes up to $1,000 at a time.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, damn.
That's quite a pension.
Right? I know, his measly little pension and his part-time job. At one point, Graves received an anonymous phone call warning her not to go into Biddle's apartment.
First place I would go.
So, of course, Graves brought a sheriff's deputy along with her and went anyway.
Tight.
There wasn't much to Biddle's little life in his apartment. He had some furniture, like sparse things, really not much. But what became obvious right away was that there was no evidence whatsoever of Biddle having a life prior to moving to San Diego. No memorabilia, no photos, no correspondence, nothing. Graves did find a safety deposit box with multiple envelopes inside with $25,000 separated in different envelopes in $100 bills. One envelope looked like someone had taken a few bills out. Graves still had no way of finding Biddle's family. 5 days after Biddle's death, a man named Barrett Rossi called asking about the death of his uncle, a man named Koury, who might have been using another name. Graves didn't put Koury and Biddle together until Rossi mentioned that his uncle spoke Arabic. Rossi also mentioned that he, too, had received an anonymous call.
Who would the anonymous calls be from?
I don't know.
This is
but
so
somebody knew
fun.
who he was.
What?
So Graves was like, that's it. She calls the FBI.
She's
They
like, I am
immediately
done.
come out. Yeah. FBI races out. Sure enough, fingerprints were able to confirm that Biddle was Koury.
Whoa.
And at this point, I'm sorry. How long had he been on the run? So I know it was initially 10 years and then 5 years later, so 15 years.
13.
13 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
At this time, his FBI file was 48 volumes wide. The FBI said they literally interviewed thousands of people over the years, some that were such good lookalikes they had to eliminate them by fingerprints. They also spent about $1 million over the 13 years they spent looking for him. So there was one quote from an article that I really liked. It said, "The FBI's most wanted desperado, the godfather of Richmond's gay community, had been living like Mr. Rogers 2,600 miles away from his wife and 4 children."
Wow.
So you might be wondering about Koury's poor wife and children.
A little bit.
An article written in 1988 said, Koury's wife, Jeanette Koury, reared the children. Their names were David, Lorraine, Julie, and Teresa. One of them was born with brain damage, which I think was probably Teresa, just because she was the only one I couldn't find a file on.
Yeah.
The article said that for years, Jeanette would talk to FBI agents about the case, inviting them into her home for coffee, like multiple times.
Yeah, she's probably like, I have no idea.
I just want some child support.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about Leo anymore, Jeanette said at one point. Life has been a lot calmer since he left.
Whoa.
Everything about Leo is in the FBI file.
All 48 volumes.
Seriously. Jeanette has since passed away, and as has Koury's son David, who I believe worked in marketing. His daughter Lorraine is a lawyer. His daughter Julie is a pastoral assistant at the Catholic Church. One article said one of them was a nurse at one point, but I don't know which one it was. Koury's burial vault is in Mount Calvary Cemetery in Richmond.
Oh, so they brought him back to Richmond, I guess, once they found out.
Interesting. I don't know.
His wife was like, fine, I'll fucking take him.
Yeah. Like, I would assume the family was like, okay.
Maybe like half of the family was like, he didn't do it, you know, like with that kind of racketeering stuff. It's like, no, this guy coaches my daughter's softball, you know.
Yeah. I actually had a quote from, I don't know why I took it out, but I had a quote from Hushan, the guy who owned the convenience store. And he was just like, it's not him.
Yeah,
You
there's
got the
no
wrong
way.
guy. Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
This makes me think, because he would have been in jail when he died had he not run away. When inmates die, does the family get to claim their body and put them wherever they want?
Yeah, the family can
That
claim
makes
the body,
sense,
but
'cause it's for them. It's
Yeah.
So that's it. I don't know what he was doing in those years in between.
I know, I'm wondering. So maybe
Because they just said they could tell by the apartment that he had lived there about 5 years.
he
They
still had
recognized him.
$25K on him, but who knows how much he left with. Like,
They thought that he left with $1 million.
okay, so
Yeah.
he lived a pretty good life in those 8 years, ladies.
I think one of the articles I read was like, at one point he just got too old.
Yeah.
And was like, I can't do this
He's
shit
like, I guess
anymore.
I'll go be nice now.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it.
And like sick. He's ill.
Yeah, he's
true.
diabetic.
Yeah, because he was diabetic his whole life. So
Yeah. Wow, that was great. That was fun.
job.
Thanks, girl.
That's so interesting. Unbutton my pants on the top.
Do it. I'm not judging you. You're wearing a
I'm
smock,
wearing
for
an
Christ's
apron,
sake.
so it's fine. You'll never see
I
it.
record like 1 second to catch that whole thing.
It's cool.
But in case you missed it, Eliza just unbuttoned her pants
Yes, we're
for
getting a little
segment 2.
cozy.
And you know what? Get cozy, because it's going to be a minute until
Get
this is over.
ready.
Boys and girls.
I'm wearing those Madewell high-rise road trippers, and they're cozy, but gosh, they sure cut into your belly.
I mean, they shouldn't be called road trippers, because all you do is sit and have your belly go into your button. You know what I mean.
always. It's always my problem.
hate when my belly goes into my bun.
Oh,
So uncomfortable.
fuck off.
All right.
Okay.
It's your segment, lady.
This is the 5th segment of episode 14, and it is the story of Michaela Joy Garecht. I just have to say, I watched this segment while I was reading a true crime book that one of our listeners recommended about Amy Mihaljevic. We talked about it in our listener short stack. I got like a little too mired in the abduction and maybe murder of little girls. And I realized that, like, I have no idea how True Crime Garage, MFM, like all of these true crime podcasts just deal in like murder
Yeah.
and sadness and grief. I'm just super grateful for the fact that we do the Lost Love segments and we
Yes.
do the silly hauntings.
We get
and
to
do,
end on a
like,
ghosty this time.
Yeah. So this is the story of Michaela Joy Garecht, and the segment is Wanted. Okay, so 9-year-old Michaela Joy Garecht went to a market with her best friend in Hayward, California, near Oakland, November 19th, 1988. It was just 4 blocks from her home, and Michaela went there almost every day. She never went alone. She always went with a friend. They rode to the market on their scooters. When they arrived, they placed their scooters next to the entrance and they went inside and they bought candy. When they came back outside, Michaela's scooter was gone. Her friend noticed that it was laying out in the parking lot. When Michaela went over to pick it up, an unidentified young man got out of his car, opened the back door, grabbed her, threw her in the back of the car, drove off, and vanished.
Ugh.
Authorities are certain that Michaela's abductor purposefully moved her scooter next to his car so that it would be easier for him to abduct her.
Yep.
What kid would possibly fucking think that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What adult
No.
woman would possibly fucking think
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Like, really? Your first reaction would be to go get your thing.
Yeah. Oh,
You
this
know?
could have so easily been me.
Yeah. So Michaela's friend ran back into the store and told the clerk to call the police. Detective Ken Gross of the Hayward Police Department says that this case is unique in that they have a suspect description. So Michaela's friend was able to give a description of the man in the vehicle. The man was a white man, hashtag not all white men, aged 18 to 22, about 6 feet tall, with longer blonde hair and a pockmarked complexion. The car he was driving was a large American model in poor condition, brown or tan, hashtag not all tan cars. Detective Gross.
Important to say.
Yes. I mean,
So
I don't want to,
important.
I'm tired of getting comments about being mean to cars. I don't want to generalize all tan cars. Okay.
Yeah, it's not all of them.
It's not all of them.
Okay.
But you,
I'm so glad that we said it and we
yeah.
have to say
So now
it.
it's out there. Okay.
Disclaimer.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's all move
Moving on.
forward and be fucking adults.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So Detective Gross says he just needs a tip that they need to act on. Sharon, her mother, says life just isn't the same until Michaela comes home. And then they abruptly cut.
Yep.
Like, who edited this
Shortest
shit
segment
show?
ever.
Okay. So, of course, there's no update. After I watched this, I was like, oh my God. Like, I would go down to the market.
Oh, same. Me too.
By myself. Like, it was one of the first times that I looked at a reenactment and I was like, oh, right. I'm retelling the story, but it could just as easily be
Yes.
Michaela telling the story about Alison who went missing when she was
Yes.
9
Yeah.
years old. You know, like,
And you think with a friend they'll be safe, which is what my parents always made me go with my friend.
Oh, yeah.
I would walk 1 block to meet her on the corner by myself. We'd only walk 1 block by ourselves. And
Yeah.
then we would walk like 5 blocks to the market.
and it's like go with a friend, but if you think about it, only so that your friend can witness your kidnapping.
Exactly.
Like, what's
What are
another
they going to
kid
do? They're not going
do?
to stop them.
I mean, it's
Well,
good in this case that
I'm
she had a
amazed
friend.
that she even had a description of the vehicle.
Well, yeah.
Like that's way more than you
I'll
could
come
ask
back
of
to
me as a
that.
child.
I'm going to come back to that. So here's my update. Never solved. Neither she nor her abductor have been found.
no.
So join me, if you will, in falling down the rabbit hole that is the story of Michaela Joy Garecht. First of all, I didn't realize, but Hayward, California is in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's near Oakland. And I was like, oh, she was kidnapped in broad daylight at the corner of Mission Boulevard and Lafayette Avenue.
Wow.
Which is a super bold move. The grocery store was then known as Rainbow Market. It is now called Mexico Super. Along with the details of his description, Michaela's friend described the kidnapper as having fox-like blue eyes.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh, maybe she grew up to be a writer.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool. And he was also wearing a white t-shirt. As far as the car in the getaway, the abductor drove a large, older model, American-made sedan, possibly 4 doors. It was either cream or tannish gold in color. The car may have had cement splatter on the side and lights set into the rear bumper, and the front bumper was battered, and the vehicle appeared run down. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I am so impressed with her attention to
Seriously,
detail.
Yes.
How?
Yes.
Like,
and
even
then
still,
While terrified.
while terrified,
yeah.
talking to a stranger behind a counter at a supermarket, like, and then talking to the police, and you know the police are probably trying to like be really cool with her, and
Yeah.
like, so the car was last seen speeding south on Mission Boulevard toward nearby Union City, California, with Garecht inside. So like people saw her in the
Oh
car.
my God.
Her kidnapping led to one of the most extensive police investigations by the Hayward Police Department. They received 5,000 tips in the first year alone. In 1994, the Daily Review reported that police had followed up on more than 15,000 leads. More than 3 decades later, the investigation at the Haywood Police Station continues. Chief Investigator Inspector Robert Lampkin declared, "We'll go anywhere, any corner of the earth to try to bring Michaela home." It has also remained an open case with the FBI, and they believe it is still solvable. At the time of the kidnapping, Garecht's photo was featured as a missing child on milk cartons and billboards nationally, and thousands of flyers and posters were spread throughout the community. Her kidnapping was a high-profile missing child case and received national media attention. Her case was the first missing child case to be featured on America's Most Wanted. The case featured once again on the show in 2009. The case has also been featured on numerous other television shows, including Unsolved Mysteries, twice, and even gained international attention.
We're starting to see more crossover between America's Most Wanted and Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah. I'm super glad we're not doing a podcast about America's Most Wanted.
Same.
Yeah. So November 19th, 2018 was the 30th anniversary of the kidnapping of Michaela. Sharon, her mother, and her friend, who was unnamed in the UM segment at the time because of her age, her name is Katarina Haug, and she attended the anniversary, and it was held at a local church where Sharon lives. Now a music teacher and a mother of 3, Katarina sung and spoke at Sunday service. Quote, "Michaela, she might just as much be a 39-year-old as I am," noted Hogue, who also said she suffered from survivor's guilt over the years, but still carries hope for her childhood best friend. I found Katrina. She lives in Austin. She's a teacher, a singer, and she's very involved with her church. Her life looks like a happy one. She's got kids, and I hope she's managed to figure out her survivor's guilt, because honestly, she was a badass little girl.
Seriously.
She ran back into the store immediately, got help, and then gave a clear description of the kidnapper and the car he was driving. And I hope she's able to recognize what a brave little kid she was.
Yeah.
Sharon, whose last name is Murch now, M-U-R-C-H, says she might be somewhere and we might be able to find her. Murch says that she doesn't believe in the age progressions for her daughter or the suspect, the suspect who the police drew composite sketches of decades ago. Or she doesn't think they're accurate. Oh. But she does believe that someone out there knows what happened, and she'd like to know too. Quote, "Every possible terrible thing that could have happened to a child is in my head as a possibility. Yeah. So if I could find out what did happen to her, at least it would eliminate everything else."
That's what I was just going to say. That's the worst part as a mother. Not only do you lose your child, but you, of course, think of all the worst case scenarios, and it could be one of them. It very well could be one of the horrible things going around in your brain. And
but it's probably not all of them. So if you have 100,
not all of them. Yes,
you know?
but then you're still experiencing all of them because you don't know what happened. It's so awful.
Sharon has 5 children. I don't know if that's counting. I believe that's counting Michaela. And she has many grandchildren. She's a writer, a stage 3 cancer survivor, and a fucking superhero as far as I'm concerned. And when her hair grew back from chemo, she dyed it pink.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
She's adorable. She has a lot of blogs going. She has a personal blog. She has a blog for Michaela. And the one for Michaela, you know, when there's not a follow-up, you tend to spend a lot of time researching and just trying to gain any kind of information.
Yes.
Which always leads you to the comment section, which is inevitably disappointing, to say the least. And Sharon runs these blogs, and she answers everyone who comments.
Wow.
I emailed her. She answered me.
Wow.
So, like, she is just the kindest soul. Daily, she gets these comments with people, like, crime-splaining to her, you know, like... And even worse than that, she gets these comments that are like grief hunting. Like someone said, "I lost my granddaughter at 33 months. And I thought it was the worst thing until I realized it's better to know than not to know."
Oh my God.
Like who would say that to a mother whose daughter has been missing for 30 years? Like,
so unnecessary.
Yes, it is better to know than not know. Good on you for pointing that out.
Yeah,
and using this woman's experience in grief to figure that out for yourself. And then commenting that.
I was going to say, it's one thing to like say that in conversation and be like, shit, why did I say that?
Yeah, the internet's forever.
But to write it out?
Yeah. Backspace.
Like I could just imagine sitting in the kitchen every morning as this woman and like going through these emails and comments, which have no personal accountability because there are people that just sign in as anonymous on these blogs. And then the best, I Googled meth and they have acne that leads to pockmarking. They should be looking for a meth user. Like really? Oh, let's look for a meth user in fucking San
there's only a
Francisco.
few,
Be able to find
like
one.
throw a
that
rock.
narrows it down a lot.
Yeah. So, and then this was the worst one, and then I'll stop. Quote, "Do you still shop in that market, even though I'm sure you dread it?" She responds, I never shopped in the market before or after, and I don't live in the same city now. Like,
She's
she
still
didn't-
responding
Yeah, and
nicely.
she wasn't like,
Wow.
who even asks such a question?
Yeah.
Like, and why are you asking that? Is that the most important question you have after reading about my daughter's disappearance? That's what you want to know, you know?
Oh my God.
Yeah, internet, calm down. Sharon's amazing. Her blog is beautifully written and it's really thoughtful. So this is a quote that comes from her blog, and then I'm going to go into theories. She has a blog called seekersroad.com, and we'll link to it, obviously. This is her theory. Quote, regardless of statistics, there have been a number of abducted children and adults who have come home after being captive for many years. So we know it happens. And in recent years, I have received emails from Russia, Iran, and the United States that say she is alive and in the United Arab Emirates. I have no specific information because follow-up contacts with these people have gone awry in various ways. So it is not something that can be actively investigated. All I can do is try to reach out to Michaela, and on the Dear Michaela website, I've provided detailed information about how she can get help if she is in the UAE. Until it is proven that she is not alive, I will continue reaching out to her, because if she is alive, I believe she needs me, and I hope that my words and my continuing love will reach her. And honestly, I write about her because I want to keep her alive in this world.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And not for nothing,
Like
but
she's literally done everything.
yeah. And you know, like Adam Walsh, like the classic line, like keep your kid in the media. She has annual like anniversary, you know, like
Yeah.
remembrance things for her. And, you know, I mean, she is so active online. And so I think she has hope, but she's also level headed about it, you know,
Yeah.
but I think, you know, she needs to keep having this hope. And, you know, on her Facebook, like it's her picture of her family. She's a huge family. Everybody looks really happy. It isn't like she's like stood still in time.
Yeah, right.
But
It still takes up a huge
I mean, it
part of
takes
her
up a
life.
huge part of your life.
Yeah.
So, these are the theories as to who have taken Michaela. I'm going to give you 3, but there are 5 to 6 maybes, but these are the 3 most interesting ones that I found. The first is the reappearance of kidnapped schoolgirl J.C. Lee Duggard after 18 years in captivity led police to be initially hopeful that Duggard's abductor, Philip Garado, may have also been involved in Garecht's disappearance. Hayward is within an hour's drive from Garado's Antioch home in Contra Costa County.
Oh, wow.
Hi, what is going on in Contra Costa
Seriously,
County?
yeah.
Good Lord. And Michaela's abduction took place 3 months after Garado was freed from prison for rape and kidnapping. Like Garecht, Duggard was thrown in the back of a car in broad daylight and in the presence of witnesses. The general description of her kidnapper in the car used in both kidnappings are also similar. The Hayward Police Department conducted an extensive investigation into the Grados, and no evidence linking them to Garecht's abduction was found. And yeah, we're going to post an image of the sketch of the kidnapper and Garado and his wife, but mainly Garado, obviously. And to me, Garado does not look like the kidnapper.
Was that the one where he and his wife were holding her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was also a murderous duo around at the time called the Speed Freak Killers. I don't know if you guys have heard of these guys.
No.
Okay, so I listened to a podcast. I think it was Australian Boyfriend. I almost am 100% positive that it was Case File.
Speed freak. Is that what you said?
Speed Freak Killers. Wesley Howard Shermante Jr. and Lauren Joseph Herzog surfaced as suspects in Michaela's abduction in 2012. Together, initially convicted of 4 murders, 3 jointly, and suspected in the deaths of as many as 72 people in and around San Joaquin County, California in the 80s and 90s. And they received the Speed Freak moniker because they were on meth all of the time.
Oh.
Makes it a lot easier to murder people if you're high on meth. So Shermante is on death row, and Herzog's sentence was reduced from 78 years to 14 years after the court ruled his confession had been coerced. He was paroled in 2010, but then took his own life in January 2012 after he found out that his former partner had begun cooperating with authorities and had offered to reveal the location of victims' bodies in exchange for a payment of $33,000 from a bounty hunter.
Whoa.
$30,000 if you tell me where the bodies are.
Wow.
I think his name is Shermantine.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. So not Shermante. Shermantine led investigators to the skeletal remains of Chevelle Wheeler and Cindy Vanderheiden, who'd been missing since 1985 and 1998, respectively. He also pointed out an abandoned well in Linden, California that contained some 300 human bones and personal items.
Oh my
What?
God.
Yep. Sherman stated, the well contains up to 20 victims, Michaela being one of those. He wrote a letter to the Stockton Record after his partner in crime, Herzog, committed suicide, in which he pointed out that Herzog bore a resemblance to the composite to the person who kidnapped, quote, that Hayward girl. And I gotta say, dead to rights.
Looks exactly like him.
So right below the sketch.
Yeah,
So,
it really looks like him.
So, sorry, they were partners?
yeah, so they were partners, but
They're the
Sherman
speed freak duo.
So Sherman was, he was apparently like, Herzog was like below IQ level. They were both high on meth, and like Herzog made the argument that Sherman was the one who like forced him to do it.
And Herzog did kill himself.
And Herzog killed himself when Sherman was like, I'm going to show you where those bodies are buried because I don't have anything to lose. I'm on death row. And this guy got out. You're going to be a little spiteful.
It does look a lot like him.
Yeah.
It really does.
But I saved the craziest for last. Authorities believe that Timothy Bindner had a possible connection to Michaela's disappearance, as well as the disappearances of Eileen Michaloff, Kara Kossi, and Amanda Nikki Campbell. A photo of Bindner is posted with this case summary. It's in there. That's this guy.
Okay.
And he has a
he's-
similar face to the other
He
guy.
It does. I thought that before
And
you
there isn't a photo of Bindner on the internet as younger, and I can't find his information anywhere, and it's probably for these reasons.
Okay.
Bindner, a married sewage treatment plant worker, came to authorities' attention after he began sending birthday greetings to young girls in the
No.
East Bay area.
No.
One child's parents contacted authorities and handed over a letter written to their daughter. The note was printed backwards and could only be deciphered by holding it up to a mirror. He claimed he sent the cards as a kind gesture because the girls were lonely.
Ew.
What did they say?
It doesn't say. Bindner also visited the Oakmont Cemetery gravesite of Angela Bugay, a 5-year-old girl who was abducted and murdered in Antioch, California in 1983. He was never considered a suspect in her murder, and another man has since been arrested in that case. For many years, he was also considered a suspect of the June 1988 disappearance of Amber Schwartz Garcia from Pinole, California. Bindner approached many of the mothers of missing girls from the East Bay area, offering his assistance, including Amber and Michaela's families. Investigators asked Amber's mother to maintain a quasi-friendship in the hopes of learning if he was connected to any of the girls' cases. She and authorities agreed that he appeared to be playing mind games with the victims' loved ones and law enforcement.
Oh my God.
Many people theorize that he enjoyed taunting families into thinking that he may have been involved in the presumed abductions. He was once arrested for annoying 2 little girls whom he was trying to lure into his van, but the charges were later dropped. He often drove around in a light blue Dodge van with a license plate that said LOBYOU, and inside the van was wallpapered with many pictures of children.
What?
Oh my.
He asked Linda Golston, a reporter for the San Jose Mercury News, to interview him at Oakmont Cemetery at 4:30 a.m. He played his favorite song on her car stereo. Quote, Jesus, here's another child to hold, is the name of the song. He told Goldston that he thought of the missing girls as, quote, his children. She asked him how he believed the abductions occurred, and he said one child was submissive, but another fought back against her assailant. He added that he was guessing about the girls' reactions.
What?
He wrote a letter to a law enforcement agency in the late 1980s stating that he believed the next girl who would be abducted from the area would be 9 years old. Michaela disappeared shortly thereafter. She was 9 at the time of her abduction. Bindner also sent a holiday card to a profiler for the FBI in 1990. The card depicted an image of a young girl holding up 4 fingers. Amanda vanished in 1991 at the age of 4. Search dogs traced Amanda and Amber's scent to Bugay's grave.
What?
Authorities never had enough evidence to prove Bindner was connected to their cases, although he was known for visiting the cemetery on occasion. He maintains his innocence and successfully sued Amanda's hometown of Fairfield, California in 1987 for defamation of character. He has never been charged in any of the cases. Wow. He has been referred to as an eccentric, which I would say is an understatement.
He's still alive?
Oh, he's still alive. And he's still in the San Francisco area. Yeah, I was right.
What's his first name? I'm sorry.
Timothy.
Timothy.
Bindner.
Bindner.
Or Bindner.
Yeah, I can't. Even if this guy didn't do it, he should still be in jail. In an article that I read, the card that he sent to the FBI was sent on the anniversary of the first year of Michaela being missing.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So he's just like a sicko. There's a book, and it's called Stalemate, A Shocking True Story of Child Abduction and Murder by John Philippin, and I think we should read it.
Just like
Checking
off everything on the list of creepy,
just like insane
you
stuff.
could do.
Yeah, like the grave thing. I was like, what the fuck?
so
Like, did he kidnap these girls and bring them to the grave of the other girl he was obsessed with before he murdered them?
Yeah, well, there's something creepy about someone who acts creepily and doesn't even try to hide it and doesn't realize anything is wrong with it.
Or like loves it. Like he's like driving around in a blue van with a license plate that says "Love You" and wallpapering it with photos of children.
and not even trying to hide.
Yeah,
The birthday cards, like, that's creepy already, but putting it backwards is like just another level of like fucking with your
and
head.
I couldn't find like what the. Well, I also was like, okay, this isn't about this guy. It's about Michaela.
Yeah.
So like I could have gone into like a much further rabbit hole
sure.
on this guy, but I was like,
I mean,
fuck
we know
this
what we
fucking
need to
guy.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like clearly he's he's nuts if he's not a
Ew.
murderer.
Yes,
Yeah.
even if he didn't do this, I
And
hate
even if
him.
and if he's not nuts, then he's the meanest person on the planet.
Yeah.
Like either way, yikes. So anyway, like I said, the Hayward police have said that this case has never gone cold. They still follow up on leads. So if you know anything about Michaela or her kidnapper, you can contact investigators at 1-800-222-3999. If you have any information concerning Michaela, you can contact your local FBI office. Or if she is out of the country, go to your American embassy or consulate. And you can remain anonymous, and I'll post the URL where you can contact the FBI and remain anonymous. I'm going to close with a poem written by Michaela, written 1 week before she was kidnapped.
Okay.
The people knock on doors of steel. The people knock, the people kneel. They think of things that aren't real outside the doors of steel. The people walk, the people know. Outside those doors, the people know. The people think that you may say. The people think that they too may. They lack the confidence you have. They think it's real, the dreams you have, the dreams they feel. And that's the story of missing Michaela Joy Garecht.
So sad. Oh my
God.
She's so adorable.
and yeah, just like you said, it could have been any one of us.
It's so awful.
Yeah.
Good
so,
job. That was hard.
yeah, it was pretty rough. I'm super grateful for hauntings, lost
Yeah.
loves, and
Yes.
treasure stories.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. As promised, here's your ghosty segment, everybody.
First Ghosty by Eliza.
So, this is a story of Jim and Kay Tatum and a house that they inhabited in Atlanta, Georgia. So Stack introduces this segment by explaining the different reasons inanimate objects might move around on their own.
That was cute.
He says some experts call this poltergeist activity,
Experts.
but
Loose quotes.
also that's not poltergeist activity. Isn't that like where a kid experiences the poltergeist?
No, that's the movie
That's just
Poltergeist.
every movie about poltergeist.
That's the meaning of poltergeist.
No, it's
No,
not
honey.
just child specific.
It's a ghost.
honey.
It's just a ghost.
Let's
It's a
see.
type of ghosty.
Let's fact check back. You're right. A ghost or other supernatural being supposedly responsible for physical disturbances such as loud noises and objects thrown around. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I stand corrected.
So-
Gosh, this and the wig, I'm not doing well.
Nope. No.
Okay. He also says that it could be psychokinesis, where the unconscious mind of an individual moves objects through space.
I think that's him giving Kay an out.
It's funny. His intro to this was just like, I don't know
And
what
he's
to
like,
say.
he's like, don't be silly, guys. It's not like a ghost. It's like somebody moving shit around with their mind waves.
Of course. So before the segment begins, he does a bit of victim blaming by asking, quote, could it be that Jim and Kay Tatum caused their own hauntings, unquote, which seems like the equivalent to what was she wearing in rape culture.
Shady Stack.
They were asking for
Come
it.
on. Yeah, how drunk were they? Stat calls them sober, reliable people.
Oh, I noted that. I was like, oh, okay, so they're not like alcoholic maniac people. Like,
And they really
At least
aren't.
he didn't
They're
say
so nice.
uncrazy.
So Jim and Kay Tatum built a new home in a quiet suburb near Atlanta, Georgia, with plans to retire. In January 1986, 5 months after they moved in, they started experiencing a series of bizarre incidents. We say it every time now, but this couple is just so pleasant. Please go watch this segment. I love them so much.
Oh my gosh.
I
As
love how
much
much you
as
guys
I
love them.
wanted to snark and hate on them, I
can't.
couldn't. They were so cute.
I managed to.
Yeah, well.
You always can.
I know.
And
I'm good at what I do.
Their spooky reenactments are just so good. Oh my gosh. So one night, Kay couldn't sleep and she sensed a strange presence in the hall outside of her bedroom. When she got up to investigate, she caught a glimpse of a man walking past her open door. Quote, it was definitely a man and he was swinging his arms lightly. Isn't that just how everyone walks?
Just gentle arm swinging.
I love too how like in the reenactment the guy is like 6 foot tall, like dark and very like chiseled looking, and then she's like, I thought it was my husband. And you're like, in your dreams, Kay. Come on now, honey.
wish,
You
Kay.
wish.
She's
Aw, although
like,
he
Jim,
was so
I'm in
cute.
here.
Yeah, she's like, hey Jim, I'm in here.
Take me. She said his head was slightly bent and he walked briskly past me. At first, I thought it was my husband and I went into the bedroom. Yeah, I say, oh, yeah. This is another great reenactment. Jim is in bed with the blankies pulled up all the way to his chin.
I didn't see that.
It's just him laying in his
Like a
bed,
baby.
blankies all the way up, just the face, and he's just peeking over the blankies at her at the end. Blankies.
So he was
blankets.
you.
It's just funny that the director wasn't like, okay, let's make this look like not so much like you're a tiny toddler in a bed.
Like no grown man sleeps that way.
And she says, there he was in the bed. So then I thought it was a burglar. Okay, so then cut to Jim in the reenactment, searching the house with the tiniest gun I have ever seen. It was so small.
I'm gonna get you out.
And he's holding it up by his face. So Jim searched the house, but there was no evidence of any entry or of anyone having been in there. And Jim suspects that it was just Kay's overactive imagination.
Which is condescending, but I agree.
So shortly after the incident, Kay began to suspect that it may not have been an actual living person at all. She recalled that when the person walked by, she hadn't heard a single noise from it. And so they show her kind of like laying in bed, tossing and turning like, oh, maybe it was a ghostie. So 2 months went by without anything strange happening, and she didn't think much more of it. So then on another night, a few months later, Jim was working upstairs on the house. Another great reenactment because he just has a drill that he's drilling into wood, not doing anything.
He's like, I'm a man.
I was fixing
I'm
a ladder,
man.
but he's just holding it next to wood.
He was
I
working
can
hard.
fix things.
And then he stopped when Kay called him down to dinner and claims to have unplugged the drill he was using, as he always did, because it was very old and it was dangerous to leave plugged in.
We'll just
So,
risk
like-
an electrical fire.
Yeah.
It's still good.
It still works. I'm
And-
going to keep it forever.
If I forgot to unplug it, I'm gonna blame a ghost.
So as the evening wore on, he didn't go back to his work. He decided to watch a movie, and Kay went upstairs to read. An hour later, she heard the sound of the drill outside the bedroom. And she assumed he was teasing her about having seen a ghost a couple months ago. And in the reenactment, she's laying in her bed. She just is so mad and slams her book down on the bed like, God damn it, Jim.
It's like,
So she's just exasperated and stomps out of the bedroom. And when she checked on the noise, she realized the hallway was empty and the drill was unplugged.
And it was cold to the touch.
Yes, she says, quote, I was really frightened and I reached down and felt it and it was ice cold. It had not been turned on. So this really freaked Kay out. So gradually she starts experiencing other things. One night she heard the sound of coins falling in a bowl. Oh, so she looks up. She's alone in the room. Another time while cooking, she felt 2 sharp tugs on her blouse.
I love that one.
Oh, she's so pissed when she looks behind her.
She's like, God, I mean, is Jim
She's a great actress.
oh my God, yes. She
really was
so
good.
into
for a
doing
while,
the
I
reenactment.
thought it was actually Kay for a minute. Like in the beginning, I was like, oh, this.
It is.
It is.
Oh, it
Kay.
is?
Honey.
Yes, it's
Yes.
both of them doing it.
I was like, she is fully, like 100% in this.
Oh, she's piss and vinegar.
Yes.
She was like, I always wanted to be an actress.
She's like, that's why I made up this fucking ghost story.
That's so cute.
This is my big break, guys.
I heard about UM
How
and
can I get
thought
on
I would-
television?
Yeah, she's like, think. This is before The Bachelor. So she was like, off.
So up to this point, Kay is the only one experiencing firsthand these experiences, and it seems like Jim thinks she's just imagining it all. But he allows her to call a parapsychologist named William Roll,
Oh, goodness
Always
gracious.
with the parapsychologist.
Especially this one.
and he comes to the home to try to help them figure out what is happening.
His accent
Is he German? I couldn't tell.
He is something. I don't even
I
know if
didn't
that
even remember
accent's
that.
real. I gotta be honest.
know.
It sounded so fake.
Nothing against German accents. I just couldn't tell what he was.
Okay. And
Hashtag
also,
not all German accents.
and also he had Coke bottle glasses. he was a fun character.
Yeah, he was. So Roll proposes an interesting theory.
Yeah.
And he believes that memories can like attach themselves to physical objects and then can be triggered and experienced by regular people,
That's fun.
like physically. So like that kind of explains the coin one, you know? All of them, really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fully satisfied
I
by that
know, you're
explanation.
in. You're in.
One hundo.
Yeah, they hardly have him on here. Like,
Yeah, he's
you
on
could
for
tell
2
UM was
seconds.
like, all right, you're not so good. So eventually, Jim had his first strange experience. So he's an early riser. He wakes up early, always earlier than her. And when she would wake up, she would ring the bell, this little angel bell they had, if she needed anything upstairs.
Can you imagine if I did that to my partner?
I mean,
Well,
would
I
be
said
like,
I'm buying us all beckoning bells immediately.
queen of the household.
Get me a
yeah,
beckoning
which is
bell.
why I think that this is probably not real.
The bell was creepy looking.
Oh yeah, like a white porcelain angel bell.
Yes. I also wonder what he would come do when she rang the bell.
No,
I
what
don't know.
did she need?
Like,
I
did
know
he
what she
bring her
needed.
breakfast in bed?
If she thought that Jim looked like that tall, dark, handsome stranger in her hallway,
I'm gonna keep ringing this bell until that guy comes back.
she's like, Jim, get the fuck out of here. I'm looking for the
I
ghost.
will summon that hot ghost.
So one morning, as usual, he heard the bell ringing, but when he got upstairs, he realized Kay was still asleep and she could not have rung the bell. And he went and looked at the bell and it was still and not ringing. So this continued to happen. And he also gets his own exasperation moment. He's such a true sweetie that you can't really tell, but he's like going downstairs, picking up his paper. It rings again. He has to go upstairs.
Yes.
She's still asleep. So after the third time that it happens, Jim and Kay decide to make up a code in order to trick whatever was making the bell ring. This is one of my favorite acting moments too, because they're just sitting at their dining room table, and he's like, tells her what the code will be, and she says, "Yes, okay, we'll do that."
Yeah.
But like, okay,
Imagine.
but if there's a ghost, isn't the ghost gonna hear?
Ooh, the ghost is
The
listening.
ghost is listening. It's a
Always.
ghost. Ghosts
Well,
don't sleep.
Yes. So the code was that if Kay really wanted him and was the one ringing the bell, she would ring it exactly 3 times.
That
so
is
one
good.
morning, he heard the bell ring 3 times. But when he went upstairs, Kay was sound asleep and the bell was in the other bedroom. So
I just have in my notes. Okay, was sound asleep.
Oh, really?
Oh, really? Was she really? Like, are we really all doing this? Are we all humoring Kay now?
When he turned around and walked out the door, it rang again. Okay, Allison?
Yeah, I know. I'm fucking convinced ghosts exist. Yada, yada,
Okay,
yada.
then what?
So this is the part where he's been very like, I don't really believe all of
Dismissive.
this, dismissive, until he has his own experience. And then when he's telling, like, as the talking head about this particular bell instance, he is scared and maybe tearing up, and she's watching him like, what's going on? She puts her arm on his back, and then he stops talking. He's saying, like, I was really frightened. My hair stood up on my neck. I told Kay, no more bell. I'm not going to answer that bell anymore. And that bell has not rung since. And he's freaked out kind of, but also smiling
I
because he
think-
feels awkward or
Yeah,
something.
and I think he felt bad for not believing her for
Yes.
so long because he realized how scary it was.
Yes, and then
It
she
was
just
such a true
pulled
sweetie
him
moment.
into an embrace. It was so nice. He just kind of leans
Yeah.
into her.
And she was
bosom.
like, I've never seen him like this before.
Yes, it's so nice. So we'll have it up on Instagram. You might have already seen it, or it will be up there now. So Jim explains that the bell incident was a real turning point in his life, as he knew then that there are things that are just unexplained and forces we can't see or understand. So Jim and Kay Tatum decide to move out of their dream retirement home that they built, which is so sad.
That is so sad.
So
All over the damn bell.
I have a bit of an update.
That's what
Oh.
you got. Wait, you forgot about the guy being like, these events are trivial.
Oh, yes, very good. Good. Yeah, he was like, this is no big deal. So, my update, I found a blog called seeksghost.blogspot.com.
Ooh, seems legit.
They
Go
had
on.
a lot of information actually about this case, more than what was in UM, and I
Really?
don't know how they found the other information because I didn't see it. But
Wow.
they say, After the Bell incident, Kay checked into the history of the land their new house had sat upon.
Native American burial ground.
She discovered that a Civil War battle, the Battle of Culp's Farm, was fought in June of 1864 near their subdivision. So other residences in or around that subdivision have experienced similar phenomena. In October of 2007, so much more recent, a male resident out for a drive one night with his teenage son spotted a horse and a Union cavalry officer in his car headlights, so ahead of them.
Alison's face.
The father quickly braked and the horse passed right in front of their car. The two males watched in awe as the figure moved across the road and right through a fence. The horse and the rider then just faded away. Okay, so I checked a little bit into the Battle of Culp's Farm, and it had a ton of people that died, obviously.
Lots of angry spirits.
So
Everybody's super pissed.
it said 1,500 Confederate soldiers and
Yikes.
350.
I was just like, we should
Union.
do a podcast about the Civil War.
Oh my God.
God.
Yeah, you
Too
can
much
see how well I
rhyme.
spouted
Do you guys
off
have the
those
next
facts.
6 years?
One more thing. Unsolved.com, they usually have a little story about the case written out, and then people will comment. So Angela Myers on there, she said, because some people were saying maybe it was carbon monoxide poisoning.
Or
because
black mold.
Yeah, because you do have
You trip balls.
bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, but she said there were no carbon monoxide poisoning issues in their home. The ghost in their house was an old Civil War soldier who never moved on. She's so sure of it. They found out their house was built upon an old Civil War ground. The reason why I know is because Kay Tatum was my great aunt. And when they used to come down to visit us when I was little, they used to tell us all kinds of things that the ghosts would do. May explain why I am so into the paranormal now. Okay, that's what she says. So it looks like Kay Tatum passed away in 2001 and Jim passed away 5 years later, and they had moved from Georgia to Winter Springs, Florida.
Did the ghost follow them?
No, because it was strictly a Civil War ghost who stayed on its grounds, okay?
Okay.
But yeah, I couldn't
ghosts
find...
have followed people before too, especially people that really thrive on attention and being on TV.
I don't think they do. I like
They were really cute.
I love them. So that's it. Ghosty, ghosty.
Good ghosty.
Ghosty, ghosty.
That was
If
fun.
you live in that house...
Yes, please write in.
Yeah,
What's
please
up?
tell us all about your Civil War ghost.
Do you keep bells on hand or?
All right, that's it.
All right.
That was satisfying.
Good job.
Newport Beach, the pool house, Captain Oates, Chino, ew. I'm Michelle.
I'm Liz. And I'm Ingrid. And we're
Let's Talk OC. We're the ladies that brought you Tree Hill Talk, and now we are on the West Coast talking about the early 2000s teen drama, The OC.
Join us every Monday as we watch and review each episode. We hope you can join us.
Are you going to feel some things, Karlin?
I don't know.
You don't have to. We have so many, but you also can.
Yeah, like you're allowed to talk.
I'll go.
Except you're not.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else, but I think we've just been watching that. So,
Okay, Sharesy Feelsies. This is Eliza.
oh no, you almost did it again.
I did. Whoops. Okay, this week I saw Come From Away. I don't want to rub it in your face, Alison.
That's fine.
It honestly was fine, but not great. I was supposed to take Alison for her Christmas present, but she was ill. So I took her partner, and we had a great time. It was fine. Usually most shows I see, I'm like, I can't wait till that comes
That's
back,
what
and
he
I
told
want to
me
see
too.
it again. But yeah, I listened to like some theater podcasts and stuff, and even they loved it. It got so much hype, but it's fine. It's obviously great. It's a Tony Award winning. It's a true story, which is interesting, but I don't know. I didn't love it. So I'm really excited for Portland's Broadway season next season. We've got some good ones coming. I have a correction. My first THDI, which you will have all heard from by now because we've put it out on our regular feed, but it's usually Patreon only. But the story of Sybil Dietrich. I said the last name different every time I said it. I'm sorry, and I'm still not totally sure, but I think it's Dietrich.
I think so too.
Anyway, in that episode, I was saying, oh, and then I said, oh, Alison said, what is it? And I said, I thought of something I have to tell you later.
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot to come back to it.
Yes.
So it's called The Investigator, a British Crime Story. And it's season 1 about Carol Packman. She's a woman who goes missing. Her body is never found. Her husband is in jail for her murder. It's one of the only murders where someone was convicted without a body being found. But he's always said he didn't do it or just won't talk about it. But like we were saying in that, and in a lot of the husband did it cases, like we see all these same patterns. So in this one, and everyone should watch it, but I'll say a little bit in this one, he leaves a note like what's his name did in Sebel's case, where like I'm leaving or I'm done with this family kind of stuff.
Yeah, like all women
leaves
are.
a note, leaves her wedding ring on the table like she's just left the family.
And also like it's a
he
Lifetime
and his
movie.
daughter come home to find that. So his daughter's big in this investigation because she's now grown up, she has her own kid, and she still does not know what happened to her mother.
Oh my God.
And it's crazy. This guy has a mistress who ends up moving into their house with them
Teacher's pet.
while the woman still lives there.
Yeah, well, didn't they do that in Teacher's Pet?
So it's just all
It's the
these
same
weird
thing.
same patterns.
Oh, come on.
They go through the whole case, and the investigator guy is really good. And I just love British
on
stuff
Netflix?
because it's on Netflix.
Okay.
Yes, sorry. And he's asking people things, and they're just sitting in pubs drinking a beer during like his questionnaires because
As you will.
in England, it's the best. So that's my recommendation.
I have a lot of recommendations, I guess. I thought Karlin was going to recommend.
No, I'll have some stuff, but it's just not that.
Okay. Well, first is a podcast called Over My Dead Body, and it's by Wondery.
Oh yes, I've been listening.
Oh,
It is so good.
okay.
It's like, I don't want to say fun because somebody dies, but like it's fun. When it started, I thought of the movie War of the Roses with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. I don't know you guys.
seen it.
Oh, it's so good. Just how insane people get during a divorce. And then it escalated to a point where I was like, oh shit. Like even Hollywood.
Didn't touch that.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, it's really good. There's 6 episodes in total, and they just finished 5, so you can binge it, which is even better. And then my second recommendation, our listener Jamie, we brought her up before, and she was in the listener short stack, but I read the book that she recommended, Amy, My Search for Her Killer, Secrets and Suspects in the Unsolved Murder of Amy Mihalovic, and the book is by James Renner. And thank you for the reco. The book is really good, not just because it's a well-written true crime piece, but it's a really great lesson in the danger of getting too close to a story and like needing to own it. And sort of becoming like a golem about it, like this is mine, this story belongs to me, like, and how obsessed as a journalist you can become, and like you want all of the details and you don't want anyone else, even if it means like the case
Solving
doesn't
it.
get, like your rational brain just disappears.
Right.
My third recommendation is The Umbrella Academy on Netflix, and it's adorable. It's super fun, and I joined the Murderino Umbrella Academy Facebook fan page.
I saw that.
Because I love it so. I think it's so cute. I haven't been
I've been
on it.
watching it too. I'm not recommending it because I don't like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
But like you don't love it.
It's cool. No, I like it.
Yeah. I think that it's fun. I think it's really beautifully done.
Yeah, it's visually very pleasing.
Yes. And then I have a real quick feelsy for you guys and everyone listening. So I lost a friend, as you guys know, who listen. I was a complete asshole for the entire month of February because of it. So I'm apologizing to the two of you.
Oh my God.
I'm apologizing to whoever came to visit us in the month of February. You guys know who you are because you're listening. And I'm apologizing to anyone who I crossed paths with because I was a total fucking selfish, grief-stricken garbage person.
Girl.
My friend who passed is 2 years older than me, and her child is 2 years older than my child.
Right.
So it was just like a very, wow, your life can just take a direction kind of thing. So I had a really difficult time dealing with it. Of
course you
So
did.
I want to thank everybody.
Okay, well.
Now that the smoke has cleared and I am rational, I feel really bad about it. I love you guys, and I'm really sorry.
We love you.
Yeah. Too.
And also, the fans were super great in the time that was going on, because I would be really, really sad, and then I would go on Facebook. And like they would either crack me up or they would send a really sweet message, and like
Yes. I think we should shout out Jenny real quick.
Yes, Jenny.
We have a listener named Jenny who's been catching up. She's like 6 episodes behind at all times. but still sending us comments about the ones she's
my
watching.
God.
And we love it because she is so hilarious.
Yeah, I really
and,
want
like,
to say, I texted Karlin and Eliza, and I was like, I'm having the worst month of my life, and this girl has no idea that, like, she has made me, like, laugh through my tears at least 2 times
so
this
awesome.
past week.
Oh,
Like,
I love her.
Yeah. She was like, I feel like I'm commenting too much. I'm like, keep talking.
Yes, and
This is
that's not a
amazing.
thing, just so you all know.
Yeah.
We love your comments.
Yes.
So please just send anything you're
Yes,
thinking about while
never
you're
be
listening.
embarrassed
Don't
or
feel
shy.
self-conscious
Yeah.
because, like,
We literally screenshot so many things and send them to each other on
Yeah.
our text thread daily.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, please do,
super
because
fun.
it really does encourage us. And like,
Yes.
there are some dark days when you're in the podcast world where you're like, this is fucking ridiculous, and it's too much work, and it's too hard, and everything in
Yeah.
life is hard, and like, and then someone's like, here's a really moving story, or here's a super funny thing, or you guys are funny, or you know, and like, it's awesome. So
love it.
yeah,
Thank you so much.
I really appreciated you guys, all of you guys.
I'm glad you mentioned Amy Mihalovic because I actually wanted to shout out
Oh yeah,
a fellow Oregon pod.
oh it
that,
is Oregon, an Oregon pod. Oh my god.
So they're based out of Eugene and they're called Going West. And I've been starting to listen to their episodes. I've only listened to like 3, I think, but I really like it so far. And I think they're doing a really great job. They're super new like we are. And I don't know. I just think I like the way they're covering the cases. I like their personalities and their attitudes. Their names are Daphne and Heath. And they did an episode about Amy Mihalovic.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's so
Which was how I started
coincidental.
listening to it.
Like, what are the
because
chances?
we had a listener write to us about Amy Mihalovic, and then that just like popped up in our something we follow. And I was like, oh, I'll check it out. And I really like them, and they're
Yeah.
Oregon based, and
they're doing a good job.
and then I also wanted to say, you should always wait. How do I want to say this? I just want to appreciate taking time off. I've had the last week off, and I never take time off.
No, you don't.
Unless it's for a trip to go see my partner's family. But we took a week off for his birthday and just like a little staycation situation. And it's been really like restorative. So I just
That's
think
so good.
it's
That's
important
awesome.
to take time away because this is the first time I've like turned my brain off of work in a really long time. So
I'm so glad.
it's important to take time for yourself.
And you guys, the company that you work for, they're fine with you taking time off, right?
Absolutely, girl.
I love
have so much
that.
PTO.
I love
I have the
that.
freedom to do it anytime, but I can't like let go.
Yeah.
It's important. And like shit goes on. Like it's kind of a transitional time at work, but it's okay. I can be away.
Yeah, you
and-
can be away and it'll still
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
You know, the place will still be standing when you get
Yeah.
back.
And it's been awesome.
Yeah, that's
So
great.
good. All right, so for our next episode, we're done with episode 14. We did it. So episode 15 will release on April 1st. Ooh, April Fool's Day. That's exciting. And
Which means we're not going to release anything at all.
Tricked ya.
This one would probably be a good one. I mean, they're all good to watch ahead of time or after, whenever. Also, you do not have to. But this is interesting. We have a wanted segment, Mickey Joe West. We've got Algie and Johnny on the orphan train. We've got a Lost Loves, honeys.
That that one's heartbreaking. That
Yeah.
one makes me cry.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
And then we've got our first-ish psychic.
I mean, our first highlighted psychic.
And then they cover 4 cases that she's helped solve.
Quote unquote.
Quote, unquote. So we're each going to split those up, talk about them a bit,
It's a lot.
because it's interesting. It's going to be a little bit of a different format than what we're used to, but it should
Yeah.
be exciting. So you can go to patreon.com/Resolve Mysteries Podcast if you're interested in supporting us there. We have extra content starting to go up on there, and if you subscribe at the $5 a month level or higher, you'll get 2 extra short stack episodes a month. And also you can go to resolvedmysteries.com/support to see some other ways to support the show. Send us your ideas for listener short stacks. If you send them to us, maybe let us know, like if you're sending it to us in a direct message or something, let us know, number one, that it's something you'd be okay with us sharing. Sometimes we get direct messages, but we don't know if it's something you're sending for a short stack or just something you want to talk to us about, and both are fine, but you could start clarifying that. And then also, if it is something you want featured on an episode, think about how we would maybe read it and maybe piece it together that way so that it's kind of narrative and like a story, and we can just read it and tell your story or ask your question or whatever you send us. And if you want to contact us, you can contact us on Instagram and see photos from episodes at @re_solve mysteries, and Twitter and Facebook at Resolve the Pod. And our email is resolvemysteriespodcast@gmail.com. Oh, and I can't forget, have you checked that P.O. box lately?
The last time I checked it was empty.
Oh, moths are just flying out. Well, if you want to send us something that we can hold in our hands, that mailbox, P.O. box number is 14005, Portland, Oregon 97293.
Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you like us, leave a 5-star review and tell a friend. For every review we receive, we donate $1 to an organization. And this month we are donating to LGBT Youth Line in Toronto. And we are doing that in honor of the victims of Bruce McArthur. If you like our podcast and have a friend or two that you think would as well, please tell them about us. We'd love to keep growing our little community. So just tell everyone you know, please.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Gibby.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. So go to
The fuck was that? Oh my god.
I'm not entirely sure.
What the fuck
I think it was
that?
because of the yeah.
I cannot just come in on these.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Because I'm trying to think of how Alison's going to edit it together, and I want it to sound.
Don't
Yeah.
worry about it.
I totally get what you're
Conversational.
doing.
I got you,
Yeah.
boo. I got you. You know what? Don't do that. Anything else is fine except that.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yes. Please stop doing that.
So don't scream yeah into the microphone.
Or cackle.
All right.